Dr. Cinema. With Justice League opening this weekend, I figured I might as well give a mini review to the all four previously released DCEU films, starting with the 2013 film Man of Steel. Now, I already talked about this movie in a movie Face Off just like less than a week ago, actually, but bear with me. So it's a Superman origin story, so we all know most of the stuff. Krypton's about to be destroyed. Jor-El sends his son Kal-El, aka Superman, to Earth. He is raised by the Kent family, where he learns about his powers and alien heritage. And as an adult, General Zod breaks out of his prison, and they fight it out. And he later becomes the hero known as Superman. Now, again, I'm not giving that story much justice here, but I already talked about it a lot in the movie Face Off. So you want more details, go see that one. But I do want to talk about this movie still. So Man of Steel is when it was first released, it divided basically everyone. They either loved it or they hated it. When I first saw the film, I was neutral. I mean, I'm really familiar with Superman and his story, but he was never really one of my all-time favorite heroes. I mean, he just seemed like he could really do anything. I didn't really see anything fun about that besides his weakness being a shiny rock. But I never really hated Superman. Like I said, like I respected him as a character and for the significance and impact he's had in the comic world and with the superhero world. But I just never really see him as an all-time favorite. However, looking back on the film now, I actually really like the movie. Now, we are, like I said, we were all familiar with the Superman story by the time Man of Steel was released. But it did do stuff with it, to be completely fair. It gave more, it gave a bigger look at what Krypton was like before it was destroyed, which really wasn't explored in a lot of animation shows or in previous movies. I'm sure it's been explored in like comic books, but never really in a movie like this before. And the performances from the cast members are actually pretty good. Michael Shannon does a good job as General Zod, of always like being over the top sometimes. I will find him. And of course, my one of my favorite celebrity crushes, Amy Adams. Let's focus. Amy Adams plays Lois Lane, and for the most part, I think she does a good job. And of course, Henry Cavill also does a good job. But though I don't get why people say he never smiles in the movie. There are a couple times in the movie I see him smile. Come on, people. And of course, you have Russell Crowe playing Jor-El. And all these cast members really do good performances. But of course, I am thinking back to the Richard Dahmer, Christopher Reeve Superman cast a little bit more. But the story it keeps its focus and it delivers what it promises, and it does have some creativity with it. I mean, the most controversial part of the movie is when Superman, spoiler alert, snaps Zod's neck, killing him. Now, of course, this still divides a lot of people. But looking back on Superman 2, back in like the 1980s, he killed General Zod there as well. So I don't really understand why people really got upset over that. But with him breaking Zod's neck, it's actually adding a little bit more to Superman's character. I mean, this is Superman's first time like being Superman, like actually helping people in public instead of like down low. So, and he's obviously kind of struggling with it a little bit, and he's forced to kill one of the last surviving members of his race, and that really puts an emotional impact on that moment a little bit. And his murdering of General Zod is sort of serves as a catalyst, an example, a reason why he will never take another life again. And I think that was actually well done. Now, of course, there are problems with this movie. Of course, it gets a little bit too dark at times. Not a lot of like bright cheeriness. And the characters, while they're good, could do it a little bit better. And of course, and since this is produced by Christopher Nolan, there are a few times in the movie where we get lines of dialogue that are said with the utmost seriousness and importance. But there but most of the dialogue is fine as well. So I actually really enjoy this movie. If if you're really more of a die-hard Christopher Reeve Superman fan, I don't think you're gonna like the movie. But if you're really open to another interpretation of Superman, then I then go ahead, check out Man of Steel. I think it's well worth the watch. And that's my mini review of Man of Steel. Tune in tomorrow where I'll be looking at the next film of the DCEU. But until then, back to cinema. See you next time.